In this video, I put the Iglu cover to the test printing ABS parts, and I modify the AMS to make accessing your 3D printer way easier. Welcome back. I have a project I've been wanting to do for quite a while. You may have seen bits of this in previous videos, but instead of me tell you what it is, let me just show you one of them. All of a sudden, you can get into the top of your P1 or X1. And you can remove the glass. And you can do what you need to the extruder. You can service it, whatever you need, without having to remove the AMS anymore. And once you're done, it just comes straight back down. This is the AMS lid flip by Jacob. I will link all that down in the description. What I can tell you is I learned a lot putting the first one together that I will definitely now be making changes as I do the rest of them. So let me explain a little bit about this project, and then we'll jump into putting one together and the problems you may encounter that I've encountered and that others have encountered, which are a little bit frustrating, but really easily solvable. So I'm going to pop you up here. And I'm going to get a kit out. So I printed quite a few of these. Let's just get one out. Real simple explanation. These bolt to the back of your printer. Now, there are two options that I'm aware of. There might be more by the time this video goes live, but as far as I'm aware, there are two main options. One is to print these in ABS, one is to print them in PETG. I've gone ABS, they're roughly 180 grams in ABS, and that's not just these alone, this entire kit comes to about 180 grams in ABS. If you go PETG, I think it's over 300, 350, whatever it is. So for me, ABS is significantly cheaper to purchase. I prefer using it for functional parts, so I've gone with ABS. Now, that's first consideration. Up to you how you want to go, whether you do PETG or ABS. As I said, might be some different profiles. The second consideration is whether you have your X1 or P1, like I do here, normal, or are you running a riser? So I have on this one an AMS riser, and I use it because it's got the LED light in it. So ignore these little vent clips. I've got a riser. Now, you can either print the normal one, which is for no riser, but Jacob has released print profiles that are for printers that have risers. So I have printed one of those in my Iglu, which is down here. So let's have a look at this. So these are the ABS prints. I'm going to grab one of these out because I don't want to mix these up. And we'll have a look here. And as you can see, there is a difference. The ones for the riser are slightly taller. And the other thing that he's improved and done, you have some adjustment. So depending on the height of your riser, you can slide this slightly up and slightly down. Now we're just going to be doing a normal one, which is, we'll do that printer over there, and then I'll do the riser one later. So we'll just do that one first, and I'll explain some of the issues. There's been some serious issues to the point that it's chewing out screw heads, and these are stainless, these are high quality screws, and it's affecting it. So if you go to a general hardware store, I went to a bolt shop for those, and some of these hardware stores, they have steel like marshmallows, so the screw will snap. And Hogged, who's in one of the Discords, he did this first, and he put me onto this project, and he showed me that he had actually snapped a screw completely trying to assemble this. So I'll explain how to get around that and solutions, and they're cheap. They're a few cents to fix. Please don't take any of my suggestions on improving how to put this together as criticism of the product. It is free. These are just suggestions for improvement on when you're assembling it. When you see how it goes together and things piece together, it's far more intuitive than meets the eye just looking at it on the bench here. Before we bring the printer over, let's just modify this now so we're ready for it. One of the issues is this hole here for the screw, and it's really, really narrow. I'm going to bring you in so you can see it. There is a little hex pattern, and you can see on the end of this there is also a hex pattern, and this passes through here and it locks in. And let's come back. But this is so hard to screw through with these screws. Like, it is insane, and it chews out the head of the screw. You can see, I don't know if you can see the damage done to the top of that one. Now, these are stainless screws. These are not soft screws. I don't know if you can see the thread as well. So essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this hole out. I have some longer bolts. They're a bit too long, but it's all I could get my hands on. And we're going to put a washer and a lock nut on this side. And that will do the same thing, but without having to try and force the thread through here. One improvement I would suggest, so if Jacob, you're watching this type of hex pattern, put one on this side. Because if there was a hex pattern on this side, you could drop the little M3 lock nut straight in. The nut would be held in, and as you screw it, it would lock itself in. If you have a look on this side, that's nearly perfect what I'm talking about. So putting, again, this same design on this side and widening the hole slightly. But I digress, we'll make this work. The M3, 2.5 and a 3. Straight through here. I can feel it tap the ground and we're through. So let's get one of these bolts. Nope, still too tight. Okay, full 3 mil. Okay, it's a very clean hole. That is perfect. Okay, so we're going to drill the other one now, and then we're going to mount it up. You should be able to see the difference in the diameter of the hole. Just slightly larger. So these do fit through, so we don't need to drill this. That's fine. Check the other one. Yeah, perfect. Now that we've done that, let's assemble. Fun little fact, these were my dad's drill bits. I've had this set now, I'd like to say 20 odd years. Every now and again one breaks and I replace that individual one, but there's still some originals in there. Now typically when I had an issue where you've got a problem with the AMS, or you need to get into the very top of the printer, so where your extruder is, or if you want to do servicing, I've had to pull this entire thing off. And as you know, there's no way to take the AMS off without disconnecting it unless you have extra long PTFE tubes and extra long wires, and that creates its own hurdles. This is a very good solution to that. Now it does get quite dusty, so I'm just going to wipe some of that dust off. Okay, I'm going to take these out for now. This is a AMS lid riser, and the idea behind this is when I was using the eSun cardboard spools with the adapter rings on it, I needed this or they would rub against the top of the AMS. Seeing as I'm no longer using cardboard spools with adapter rings, I'm able to take that out. And it's probably better it comes out, because when you tilt your AMS back, you want to use your locking tabs. This is why I roll my filament back, and I don't just yoink at it. I try and keep it in the direction that the filament's on. This Sunloo snaps repeatedly when it's been left. And this has been in here for 3 days because I've been printing with the other colors. You can actually see. Yeah. It's not moisture. I've explained why it does this in another video. I can link below. Now we need to disconnect the AMS. So we'll turn this around. Should be a process you're familiar with. If you're not, well, and this is your first time disconnecting it, this is how you do it. Behind here is a clip, and that is holding this plug in. So this tool will go behind the clip, push it up, and once it's up, you can now pull the clip out. With this tool, it goes around, you can see the tube. You simply push it inwards and you pull on the tube. Your AMS is now disconnected. I'm just going to take the AMS off, pop it over here, just so I can move our printer. Move this camera around a bit, but that's okay. Okay, you should be able to see the bench. Fantastic. This is the AMS. When your P1S combo was shipped to you, there would have been some screws, and those screws were holding the AMS inside your chamber. So for anyone that's not aware of this, or they've bought their printer secondhand or something like that, when you buy the combo, this whole AMS is actually inside the printer, and you open the glass top, you undo a heap of screws, and the AMS comes out the glass top, and there it is. There are some screws that had to be undone as part of that process when you bought the printer. Now, if you don't have those screws, there are links to get those screws to get replacements, and that's fine. I have them here. These were the original screws that you were taking out as part of unpacking the printer. So they're going to be used on this. These are the bits that attach to the AMS, and they can be quite difficult to install. I think I was punching the AMS to get them in. Don't do that. Here's a better way. Like I said, the first time I've done this, I've worked out all the ways not to do it again. Just tip your AMS forward. If you have a scratchy surface, put something under the front. Wood's all right. I'm just going to bring you in closer again. 1, 2, 3. This is the part that's been printed. You've got little slots in there, or slits. And this lines up with this here. And the screw that came with the printer when you purchased it goes through this and back into there. So that is, as you can see, that is the original hole where there was a bracket and the screw was already in there. So Jacob has designed this to repurpose using these. So we'll put that there. And it did take a bit of force to get in. I got to there and it got really hard. Don't do what I did in the first one, and that was I was slamming it. So we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to put the second side on over here. Okay, put the AMS down. Now that you have the AMS down, I would suggest not pressing on the middle of the lid. I would suggest pressing on these here. And eventually it will go down. And if you need to open it up to get a better grip, you can do that too. It's very tempting to bash it, I won't lie. Probably best now to wedge something under there, just to raise it up a bit. Piece of multi-board under here. That is all the way in. I'm going to try and explain why I'm doing it like this. There's a gap here. This is already in line with the rubber foot. So this isn't going to go any further. If you put this flat on the bench, you can stand on it. You're not going to get this up any further because of that foot. So what you need is to sit something on that and push against it. Put it on the edge here. So it sort of lines up there. You can feel where the foot is. Hopefully we can get on camera as that goes in. And there we go. And I've done this one much better than the other one. Perfect. So it's seated in. So you just need something little under here. Let's get you back up there. So we now have these installed. Now we're just going to put the screws in. If you don't have this, you may still have the original Allen key that came with your printer. That's what I used on the first one. I'm just using this on this one because it's a little bit easier. That's it. Let me bring you in. And you can see that that is now installed. Let's do the other one. So it's just the screw that came with it. In we go. No need to go too tight. It's just securing this in place. You don't want to crack this bit of plastic that's in the AMS, so don't tension it too tight, just enough. And it's still above where that foot is. Even if you can just feel a little bit of it coming out, that's still fine. So our AMS is now ready to go on. We need to do the printer. This is really straightforward, not complicated at all. 2 and 2, 2 and 2. So there are 4 screws. I'm just going to put this under here. So if I drop them, hopefully they drop into there. I don't have any Loctite on me. Some of these had a dab of Loctite. So if you have Loctite, I would suggest putting a drop on there. I'm not going to for this one. Let's just pretend I'm going to come back, take them all off and Loctite them, okay? So internet, that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, 2, 2. Let's do the other side. Always amazed at how springy these panels are. They like to try and bow their way out a bit. Okay, done. These are 30mm screws that are part of the build list. You want this little hex pattern to the outside because it will be locking from this side. So the hex pattern out. So pop a screw in and find the hole and line it up. So there we go. Now push the Bowden tube up and it will seat. Put a screw in there. Okay. And there we go. Now we'll pop the rest of the screws in. So there is a little bit of alteration to the filament path, a slight alteration where it does go up. Now, maybe a future revision that keeps this straight, maybe a little tunnel here where the tube goes through, so it does keep it straight. But yeah, that's fine. I can't see that creating a lot of problems. You probably get more wear in other spots where there's a lot more kinks and a lot more angles before you cop it there. So I'd say if you're replacing that Bowden tube, then you're doing this one too. Let's get the other side on. That is now the brackets here installed. Let's get the AMS and drop it on top. So the AMS goes up here. And there we go. This is the change I'm making. Originally, use these screws. These go in here and the thread holds on in here. The problem I had and the problem Hogt has is I stripped the heads. This was so hard to screw through and he snapped the screw and drilling it out was a nightmare. So this is where my change comes in. And that is, I would have liked 40 millimeters. They didn't have that. They've given me 45. I can cut them down. I don't care. They're going to be a little bit longer. So more than a little bit longer, but you can see. Put this in first without the screw. There we go, you heard it click. So that is now locked in, that little hex shape. So the bottom of this has mated up with the bracket properly. Push this through. That was a little bit off, but that's fine. I would have liked it if they were a lot shorter, but this is all they had. A tiny little washer that is going on here. We have a tiny little nut that is going on there. Yeah, so you can see there's a hole in the socket. So that thread, you can see how far it's pushed in. It would have, if I try and put the tool on here, which is this one, it'll probably try and pop it off. I don't know. It would have worked. And it's in. The next thing we want to install are these little bits. And you want them tilted back as far as possible. So they can go in two ways. We want them this way. Yep. Right, that's installed. If you install it this way, it's not going to allow the AMS to flip back enough. If you install it this way, that angle allows the AMS to come back further. So there you go. I could snip those off. Like I said, I would be getting 35, 40, sorry, I would be getting 40 millimeter bolts instead of the 45s. Take this, it's going to be easy to put it through there. So go around and under, and then it's better than trying to come under here. It's better than having that kink there. It's still, this is not obstructing this at all when you go around. With this, you can go straight in. Again, I'd probably go through there just to make it a little neater. And that's how I'd leave it. And that's it. AMS is now installed. As you can see, I'll just lock the lid. And it rests against these. Like I said, if you had it the other way, it would probably only come this far. Having it this way, you can get it straight up. That is the movement of the AMS. There's the AMS Flip. Something to note, you don't need to have this empty. You can leave your spools in there and it will lift with 4 full spools. Let's get this back on the shelf. Let's get the filament back in there and then let's test it. Also going to put my little risers back in. There we go. Perfection. Unclip these. We'll load the filament back in. Over here. Another one that goes in here. I'll just lift this one up. Drop that one in there. Anyone else that doesn't know this, these are locking tabs. I only just worked that out recently. And that's it. So the AMS goes back. And you can now get straight into the lid. You can take the glass lid off. You can do whatever you need to, and then you can reinstall your lid. Now, like I said, I use these. You probably won't have those. And that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. So I will fix this one with those bolts, but that one is now done and that is done properly and I am super happy. So thank you again, Jacob, who's the designer of this. Link to the Maker World link will be at the bottom of the description and anything else. If you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll answer what I can. If I don't know, I don't know. If I do, I'll answer. So yeah, if you like this video, let me know as well. Let me know where I can improve and also let me know anything else you'd like to see. So thank you again and until the next one. Coming up in the next video, we're diving into how to choose the right UPS for your 3D printer. Pick the wrong one and it won't do a thing when the power goes out. Shout out to everyone hitting subscribe. Thank you so much. You're helping me inch closer to that first 1,000.